So we have reached that point in the winter where it's just mud everywhere. We actually spent yesterday out here getting ready because we were supposed to have somewhat of a little snowstorm this morning, and that never really happened. If it snowed, I missed it. I think north of here they got quite a bit of snow and it looked really pretty and stuff, but just not here. And yesterday was a very beautiful day. It was nice weather, sunny, somewhat warm for this time of year. And so it's just like that right now. It can trick you to think spring is just almost here, and then the next morning you wake up and it's freezing cold and super muddy again. So, but that's just the time of year it is. It's like that every year. We just got to hang on because I know spring is on the way, and we've got to appreciate this time of year for what it is. So you saw those little piglets up there when I put the turkeys up. They're doing awesome. We weaned those off of Big Mama, and she has stayed in. She got out a couple times. We told you all that a week or so ago, but she's been staying in fine. She's back there with Big Daddy and Shorttail now, our other sow and boar, and the piglets are staying in great. So, and then the turkeys, we're about to probably process a few here pretty soon, and just figure out how many we're gonna keep and narrow down to that. Just probably a couple hens and couple toms, because they can fly and they're getting out like crazy, and they're pooping all over my front porch, all over the edge of the garage. They just go where they want to and poop everywhere, and that's fine, but we never really intended to keep that many. We meant to process some to put some in the freezer, so that's what we're gonna do pretty soon. So I'm out here at the red barn. I've got to introduce y'all to somebody. So you can see this girl, she is in the barn. She's in a couple little stalls here she's got access to. You can see her holding up that left front leg. So I have been nursing her, hopefully back to health, for several weeks now. The ducks and geese are going to come in here and talk too. There's barking animals. There's a meowing cat at my feet. It's never quiet. So we hadn't showed you this girl up to this point. She just started limping out. She's one of our beef heifers and just started limping out in the field, and so we wound up actually taking her to the vet, and they actually sedated her and checked her leg and all her range of motion and all that. And it's actually an injury. It's not her foot or leg, it's actually up in her shoulder area. I'm always interested, like, what could have caused something like that? So I asked, and they said the most common cause of that is shoot injuries, meaning when you work your cows, they can get hurt when you do that. And well, I mean, we've seen that before with our cows and with other people's. It's just when you put them all in a confined area, that can happen, as well as when they're running up that alleyway. And you've seen us catch their head, we call it. You have to be very careful because that can put them to an abrupt stop. And so we've learned some things. You know, we need to make sure. Sometimes they get wild. I mean, you cannot necessarily make a cow slow down, but we do have measures in place where we could slow them down coming up that alleyway. And so that, I'm just telling y'all the honest truth. Maybe you can learn something from us, and maybe it won't happen to you. So just be very careful working your calves and letting them come into that head gate and slam into it. So she's basically not getting any medicine besides she's had a little bit of basically aspirin. Just because this is not any kind of infection. This is not anything that she needs major medicine for. It's just she's torn something in there. And so that's the reason she's in this stall. So you can see she is in here. She doesn't have very far to go at all to hay and water. You can see she strode it all over the ground, which is fine. Gives her a nice dry place to be. And then her water's right over here. You can see she's got hay in her water too. But that just gives her a nice place to be out of the weather. And the vet said if we can just keep her up, she may be in here for a month or two and let that like create new fibers and things in there to heal her leg. She may never walk normal, but it will heal to where she can walk on it. So she's going to be in here for a while. She's pretty wild. Hopefully she's going to tame down in that amount of time, but that's her story. before we head to the back, thought I'd give you just a glimpse. There's Big Mama. I think she's bred back already. We'll be watching her this weekend to see if she comes back in to know for sure. Big Daddy, the big guy around here. And this little lady, you can see that belly is dragging close to the ground. So she is about to drop some piglets for us really any moment. Got my favorite chauffeur. Like this truck?
Yeah.
He drives this truck literally every day. I think he loves it more than he would have a new one. Is that accurate or totally not? We've always called this group the teenagers because you can see they're rooting and making a mess. They just, the two, oh, got it. They turn these feeders over. We're gonna have to bolt these down, aren't we? So these kind of just act mischievous, kind of like teenagers, but you can see they are looking amazing. So this is who all the feed was for. You can see we got a couple old spots in there. They're all looking so good. That's your friend? These are so tame, aren't they? Good pigs. So we get asked on fairly regular basis, how much do we feed our pigs? And people have different takes on that. Some people will feed their breeding stock a lot less, and then feeders a lot more, and they'll feed different blends and things to them, and we've done that before. But since we have switched to a non-GMO feed that we have brought in bulk, everyone gets the same feed, and they're doing amazing on it. We've been doing that for a while, even before we were getting it from the place we're getting it now. Every pig gets the same feed. We don't try to keep our breeders super thin. You will see different schools of thought on that. Some people keep their breeders extremely trim and thin, but the trouble we've had, just being completely honest, in the past, is if you kind of feed them on the lighter side to keep them really trim, they're hungry. And so what happens when a pig gets hungry is they get out. So we feed our boar, sows, all of our feeders. Every pig on this farm gets 6 pounds of feed a day per pig. So that's what these guys, that's why you saw us getting all the buckets, because there's 15 pigs back here. So that takes quite a bit of feed. So that's just how we choose to do it. It works out great for us. You have to find what works for you and what breed of pigs you're raising. On to the cluck wagon. Sorry it's so windy out here, guys, but I wanted to bring you around as we did chores today and kind of answer some of the questions you guys ask. Another question we get quite regularly is, do we have artificial light for our chickens? Is that why we keep getting eggs all winter? The answer to that is no. We put a motion detected light in this cluck wagon when we built it over a year ago, but it is since, I'm not even sure it's still up in there, and there's no artificial light in there. So the reason we still get eggs all winter long is because every spring, we don't replace our entire flock by any means, but we always add in a few new ones that keep us getting consistent good egg production. So that's how we've always gotten eggs all year. We've never had a need to try to store eggs because we never totally run out of chickens that are laying. But now it does cut back, because those that are not spring chickens, I guess you would say, they may not be laying as well. So it definitely might cut back a little bit, but it never hardly ever totally stops. So we are back here in the cow pasture. You can see the cows coming. Lane has fed hay all up in that area to these cows over time. Like last year was all up in there. So this year we've moved back this way. We've just recently started putting out hay because we have upped our rotational grazing game and we've just had more grazing they can do. And in fact, after we get this ultrasounding done, they have some more paddocks they can actually go to and we can take a break. But one thing I wanted to show you guys is the benefits of rolling out your hay. You can see that right there is just a field of sage grass. It is just thick. It's taken over and it will choke out good grasses. So we are working to get rid of that. One major way is we'll be spreading lime on our fields coming up. But right now, another thing we're doing, and you can see it's being pretty effective. Lane has spread hay going up and down on this side, and you can see how much they have trampled down that hay. It has good grasses in it. It's feeding the soil as well as any fertilizer that might be on your hay. Then you're spreading that back on your fields. So he's starting over there today. He's just going strip after strip to just improve our pastures. It's just another organic way to improve your own soil. So just tickled with how this is looking. And just to give y'all a little encouragement, sometimes we look at our hay and think, wow, that hay looks pretty crummy because it's set outside. Because we don't have big fancy barns to stockpile 200 or 300 bales of hay. We just don't have it. We don't have the space. So we just do what we can. But if you bale your hay good and it's tightly rolled, even if the outside gets to looking a little damp and wet, I want to show you what the inside still looks like. Look at that. That is good looking hay, dry as can be. And we just had a big rain the last couple days. That is some good looking hay, and these girls are really enjoying it. So if yours is having to sit outside, just, I mean, you do what you can. You do your best, and when you can do better, you do, but you just do the best you can with what you got. I think y'all approve. Our last stop, we got to put out another bale of hay for the beef calves, and we got to put out some salt and mineral. So I also want to encourage y'all, put out salt and mineral. It's so important and so valuable for those nutrients that they are lacking. I think you'll see a big improvement in your herd. Even if you can only afford the cheapest thing that your feed store carries, which is what we've had to do many times in the past. Nothing fancy, is just basic pasture mineral. I would encourage you to put it out because it has made a big difference in our cows. And here's the children. So these are all the feeder calves. There's 39 of them out here without the girl in the barn. They are looking outstanding. Growing off good. So they won't be beef until next year, so they've still got a whole entire year to grow. But they get hay every day or every other day. We're gonna put them out some minerals, things like that today. So I think we are done. What do you think, Lane?
It's cold.
It's cold. We're heading back inside. We got jobs to do in there too. If you're like me, you're already longing for spring, thinking of all the things that spring is gonna bring. We're kind of into the part of winter where we really all get longing for warmer days, planting, and all those things like that. But I just want to encourage you, there is still some of winter left. Let's make the most of it. If there's things you wanted to do this winter, you still have time. If it was to get healthy, focus on what you're eating or you're exercising, or maybe it was to get your house cleaned up, your greenhouse organized and ready. Whatever the case may be, you still have time. I was thinking this morning how sometimes when we're asleep and you wake up and there's still like 2 more hours of sleep left or something like that before you have to get up. Sometimes that is your best rest. That's your best sleep, and it feels so good. So don't sacrifice that. That's kind of how I look at where we're at right now. We're kind of at the tail end, and if you go ahead and get out of bed right now, so to speak, you may wind up tired later. So go ahead and enjoy this last little bit of rest, and just enjoy winter for what it is, which is a time that everything's kind of put to sleep and kind of on hold, and waiting to spring to life when the warmer temperatures come. So don't miss the beauty that winter is, because it is beautiful in its own way. So I will see you guys on the next one. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week, and just know that we love and appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching, and God bless.